Barbara and I went to the movies this week. $17 for a senior citizen. I want them to come to my house and set up a... Anyway, it was worth it. It was a good... Well, the movie we saw was Sully, about airline captain Chesley Sullenberger, if you remember the story. In January 15th of 2009, he took off in a Airbus 320, which is a two-engine passenger jet. Took off from LaGuardia, and almost immediately as they were gaining altitude, they had what they referred to as a bird strike. The sound of the birds hitting the plane in the movie, they must have been Canada geese. I mean, it was a lot of noise, a lot of strikes, and unfortunately, some of the birds got into the engines of the plane and immediately disabled, or mostly disabled, both engines. And so now here you are. There were 155 souls on board, and there were decisions that had to be made, and they had to be made very quickly. New York City is a very populated area, as we well know, and there weren't too many places to put an aircraft down that was losing power by the minute. They could have returned perhaps to LaGuardia, or they could have flown over to Teterboro, New Jersey airport and tried to land there, but Captain Sullenberger determined that they would not make it. And he made a very quick and accurate decision on that. And he decided that really the only way they could survive this, and the only way they could avoid crashing, it was like, what building do you want to crash into? A lot of lives, not just on the plane, would have been lost. And he made the decision to land the plane in the Hudson River. Nobody knew if you could land this plane. It wasn't part of the specs when they built it, must be able to land in the Hudson River. And so this was a first, and it had to be done just right, and he did it. He brought that plane down with the tail end of the plane hitting first, which makes sense, and then it settled it down into the water, and it ultimately stopped, and all on board were saved. Within 24 minutes, all of the emergency people in New York had responded and were en route to get those people out of there. And so he saved that many lives that day. And the thought that you have in a situation like that is, on that given day, at that given time, the right man was in the right place, doing the right thing. And it just it makes me think of, in a communion sense, when Jesus laid down his life for us, it was the right man in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing. And that's the part of the importance of what we remember now is God made sure that the right man was in the right place. And the fact is, he's going to deliver a lot more than 155 souls someday, as many as are willing to believe in him. That's who's going to be delivered safely to his Father someday. This is from Romans chapter 5. You see, at just the right time, when we were still powerless, Christ died for the ungodly. Very rarely will anyone die for a righteous man, though for a good man someone might possibly dare to die. But God demonstrates his own love for us in this. while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. Let's pray.